One of my personal favorite sections of the Blue Lock manga is without a doubt the Japan U-20 game. To be fair, I feel like that's kind of the general consensus throughout the community. Everybody loves the Japan U-20 game. It's simply just that good. It took over 100 chapters of build-up just to reach the opening whistle of that monumental game, and the hype built up leading to the game made for one of the most high-throttle and intense reading experiences in all of sports manga. Without spoiling too much of the game, I wanted to address the stipulation that was set in place for the winner. The JFU decided that if the Blue Lock 11 could defeat the Japanese U-20 team, that they would effectively become the new national team. However, for those of you who finished the arc already, you would know that following their defeat, the U-20 team was invited to compete in Blue Lock's second phase and basically absorbed by Blue Lock, leading to the formation of the Neo Egoist League. Along with this, they revealed that the U-20 roster will be decided by whichever players finish in the top 11 of the Neo Egoist value rankings. With that in mind, I wanted to name my ideal U-20 Japan team, one that will undoubtedly win the World Cup for Japan. I will try and justify each pick because I know everyone has something to complain about, especially with these Blue Lock videos, but I feel like this really isn't up for much debate. There will be some speculation, don't get me wrong, but for the most part, I'm only going off of what we've seen thus far. So with that in mind, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Okay, for starters, I gotta talk about the formation I'm going with. I chose a hybrid 4-3-3 with an emphasis on attacking, obviously. It's Blue Lock. And one last note, since narrowing down the starting 11 was harder than I initially thought it was going to be, I'm allowing myself to name only 5 bench players. It would be a lot easier if I could name the entire roster, just so I could fill out every name that people are going to complain is not shown, but I can't. I'll show you guys how I'd sub them in after I go through my starters, but just to get them out the way, Kunigami, Ryo, Nagi, Baro, and Tokumitsu make up my 5 bench players. I know it's crazy to see names like Baro and Nagi not getting the starting spot, but when you see who and why I put the players where I did, hopefully it'll make a little bit of sense to you. And now that that's out the way, let's get straight into the team, starting with the goalkeeper. Lucky enough, I actually found a formation builder website, so we're in fucking luck. And I can name them, like what? Okay, like I said, I'm going with a hybrid 4-3-3, but I'm actually going to customize it a little bit and move them around as I see fit. So let me do that real quick. And boom! Here's the setup. Starting off in goal, I think this is a pretty obvious one. We have the GOAT, Gagamaru. It's crazy to think about it now, but Gagamaru is actually positioned at one of the forward spots back when he was on Team Z in the first selection, so it's kind of insane to think about how someone could go from a starting forward all the way to the fucking goalkeeper, basically the opposite position. And I think what makes it impressive is the fact that he wasn't training these goalie skills. This is all natural. We haven't seen a Japanese goalie perform to the same extent that Gagamaru's performed at. The U-20 goalie was fucking buns, dude. Let's just be honest. Moving on to the defense, this is honestly what I'm most proud of. At my left center back, I have the one and only Oliver Aiku. At my right center back, I have Mr. Bolka himself, Iki Nico. At my left wing back, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. I'm pretty sure that's how you refer to it. Is RU. I don't remember his first name, so he's not getting a proper introduction. And finally, my right wing back completing this defense is going to be the speedster himself, Chigiri Hyoma. I think my 2 center backs speak for themselves. Aiku's the best defender we've seen so far, that's no secret. As well as Nico, who we see is starting to lean towards that defensive side. RU is one of the tallest and lengthiest players on the field, not to mention that he has an unmatched jumping ability, making it almost impossible to win headers and jump balls against him. This is also where he played when he was part of the Blue Lock 11 in the Japan U-20 game, so I might as well keep him somewhere that he's familiar with, as well as the other wing back, Chigiri. This is exactly where he played as well. This is where I'm slotting him in the formation. We all know Chigiri at this point. He is the speedster of Blue Lock. He is speed itself, Lightning McQueen, princess with hot pink hair. He is going around at the defense. I'm not gonna lie, he's kind of in this spot just because I didn't really know where else I could position him, just because I didn't have him starting in either of the center field or forward positions, but I know that his speed is absolutely necessary to this team, so he's gonna have to fit in wherever I can fit him.Moving on to the midfielders, my CDM is gonna be none other than Kurasu. My left center mid is gonna be the one and only Meguru Bachira, and finally rounding out the midfield, the best midfielder we've seen thus far, Etoshi Sai. So I think Kurasu being the starting CDM is going to be where any controversy on this comes up. I feel like Kurasu is one of the most underrated players in all of Blue Lock. He started at CDM in the Japan U-20 game because Ego recognized that his presence is key to linking the defense to the center field, making the entire team function way better. I feel like there's one person that people expected to be in this position, and I'm sure I'll cover him in just a second, so just be patient. But yeah, I kind of wanted to put at least one controversial-ish opinion on this one, and I think that Kurasu's going to play that CDM role perfectly. And then with these two, I really feel like they're needs to be no explanation. They need to be on the team no matter what. They are probably the two best passers that we've seen, at least as far as the Japanese go. I feel like Ness's passes are on par, if not better than Bachira's. As we all know, Bachira has his insane dribbling ability, giving him the option to get open completely on his own, and allowing him to start his attack in the center field is going to allow for many options to open up as they move the ball downfield. I feel like people are going to wonder why I don't have Sai in my center position, but it's like I said, I want to focus this on attacking, and I think my forwards are going to explain why I chose this layout. Coming in my left wing is going to be none other than Atoshi Rin. I got to keep him on the opposite side of the field as his brother. They're not going to get along, let's be honest. Sai's passing ability is good enough to where he might just throw Rin a bone every now and then, but let's be honest, they're not going to want to work together too often. Rin's ability is... it's self-explanatory. This is one that I really don't think I need to explain at all. Definitely Isagi's main rival and the only person that is kind of in his way of being the number one in Blue Lock. Rin needs to be in the attack no matter what. I feel like even if he is not the central striker, no matter where he is on the field, he'll be able to steal a goal somewhere. And even if he won't be able to score, he'll impact the game immensely because he's going to be marked, maybe even doubled, you don't know. Rin's just that guy. And speaking of that guy, let's move over to the right wing, where we have my boy Shido. Now you see, there is a method to my madness. I knew I needed that Sai and Shido connection because, come on, I think that's probably the strongest we've seen anybody so far. Besides the pros, obviously. Besides the pros. The beauty of this formation in the world of Blue Lock is the fact that I've managed to almost manipulate every single chemical reaction that has happened so far, as well as set up other possibilities of chemical reactions happening. Because you think about it, Bachira and Rin, that's a chemical reaction. Bachira and Sai even, that could be a chemical reaction going down. This entire defense in itself is a chemical reaction. Gagamaru's the fucking GOAT. Shido and Sai, that is the definition of a chemical reaction. But the key piece to all of this, and I think it's no surprise to anybody, the striker, Isagi Yoichi. I mean, come on. He's the main character. Who else is going to be the starting striker? Monk? Following the recent chapter 201, Isagi has the best visual prowess that we've seen in the entirety of the manga so far. Not even Sai or Kaiser can outpredict Isagi's current mental state when he's playing, as he's able to predict almost every single outcome on the field, and it's nuts. He's even able to account for people's selfishness, which is unreal. Like, oh my god. And at the end of the day, no one really wants him more than Isagi does, and that's just a fact. Like I said, manipulating chemical reactions, Bachira, Isagi, obvious. Sai and Isagi, that is literally the easiest chemical reaction that Isagi can possibly have. Also, pairing him up with Rin and Shido respectively is always going to cause some sort of an egocentric feud to where they're going to be evolving off each other back to back, leading to them just becoming completely unstoppable. Alright, sweet, and that is my starting roster. Just to go over it one more time, in goal we got Gagamaru. Making up our defense is going to be Ryu, Aiku, Nico, and Shigiri. My CDM is Kurasu. Bachira is my left center mid. Sai is my right center mid. Rin and Shido make up my wings, with Isagi being the lone striker. Now, really quick, just because I did tell you guys I was going to show you how I would sub in every single one of my substitutes. I sub in Nagi for Shido. Kurisu is going to get subbed out by Rio. Kunigami is going to come in for Rin. Subbing in for either Ryu or Shigiri, depending on whichever one needs it, is going to be Tokumitsu. We need that stamina all day in the backfield. I mean, come on. And then finally, my final substitute is going to be the striker position. It is going to be the king himself, Baro Shoei. Now, obviously, I probably wouldn't run all these people at the exact same time. I feel like Baro and Kunigami could make for one of those rivalry chemical reactions, but at the same time, I feel like it's a volatile situation trying to play with both of them. They're probably the two most arrogant and self-centered in the entire Blue Lock program, so it could be a blessing and a curse at the same time. I feel like Nagi needs to be on the field at some point, and obviously to maximize his abilities, I decided to put Rio at my CDM position. If anything, this is where I'd swap around the formation. I'd drop Bachira back a little bit, Sai coming in as my central attacking midfielder, and then Rio making up my right midfielder, giving him the perfect opportunity to make out with Nagi. Obviously, I don't think they're into each other, but if you ever try to get background pictures for Nagi and or Rio, people suck, man. Alright guys, and that is going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for everybody who tuned in. I really do appreciate it. Let me know what you thought about the video in the comments down below. As always, let me know what you want to see next. Drop any suggestions for videos on Blue Lock specifically, or hell, any other thing that you want me to cover. With that said, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel with post notifications turned on so you never miss another upload from me again. And that's all I got for you today. Love you, boys. Take it easy.